What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Fletch, aka Slow Down Fletch, and today I got a video that y'all been asking for a while now. So I'm gonna try to make this video as brief as possible. This video is gonna cover about 9 years of my life. I know y'all been asking me about basically like my origin story for track and field. So I thought I'd just bring y'all this video real quick just to let y'all know like how I started. So I started running track my senior year of high school. I graduated in 2013. I ran 1 year, ended up going to state, indoor and outdoor. Ended up winning the 4x4 my first year running state with some of my close friends that I still talk to today. Fast forward, graduate high school. I get a small scholarship from a local school here in Huntsville, Alabama, Huntsville. So I go there for a year. At this time, I'm only 18 years old, even though I live in Huntsville and the school is only like 10 or 15 minutes away from my house. I was still kind of young and naive and just immature. So I got to school and was athlete first. Grades slipped a little bit. So it was a learning experience for me. That ended after a year. I ended up PRing or whatever, dropping my times a little bit, but I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do in the classroom. So I could have stayed there and been on academic probation, but like I just felt like I needed to go somewhere else and take some time off. At this point, I meet my current coach who still trains me today. At the end of my freshman year, I meet him through some mutual friends that I ran with in high school, and I go and start training with him. So in high school, at the end of my first season, I ended up running like 50.9 or something like that. Fast forward to my freshman year of college, I ran 49.9. But that summer, I trained with my coach for 2 months and I ran 48.8. So at this point, we're like, okay, like you really like could do something in this sport. I trained with him for a year and a half. Went to a community college and was just going to school or whatever. I wasn't full-time the whole time, so I wasn't like really progressing towards my degree, my associate's degree like I wanted to be able to go to like a Division I school or whatever. So a year and a half passes. A rival school, Shorter University, who was in our conference, who actually beat us my freshman year, they had ended up getting in contact with my coach, ended up getting in contact with me. So the short sprints coach had saw that I had ran like 21.7 or whatever in the 200. So he was like, I think you'll be a good addition to our team. Like you haven't ran very long, like, and you running like that, like we'll get some people around you. We can get you to run some fast times. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I talked to my family, talked to my friends, talked to my coach, and they're like, we think this is a good decision. Like we think you should go through with it or whatever. So I go on my visit 2 days before school starts. They give me 2 days, 48 hours to make a decision. I thought it over and I was like, let's just do it. So I do it. And then obviously, if you know, like if you're not planning on going to a school and you don't have like financial aid and everything set up, like it's going to take a minute. So at this point, I'm technically in my sophomore/junior year. So I'm an accounting major. So at this point, I'm supposed to be taking my major courses. So the first 2 weeks, I didn't have books. Like I didn't have financial aid. I didn't have any of this. Like all I had was like room and board. And so like I didn't have any of the equipment that I needed. So I just felt like I was already behind. And there was a lot of like internal and external stuff that was going on around me. And I just didn't know how to cope with it, honestly. Like I was still immature and I was still in that athlete first, not a student mindset. So I had been dealing with a lot of injuries and everything, and then like school wasn't going well for me. So I ended up having to talk with my mom, and my mom was just like, she was like, you young. Like she was like, there's no reason for you to be stressing like this. And a lot of people could have took this the wrong way, but she was just like, if you don't want to do it, like don't do it. She was like, I've never put pressure on you to go to school, like anything that you've done, you've wanted to do. So like, I don't want you to think that we putting unnecessary pressure on you. So at that point, I was just like, I just stopped caring, kind of. So like I still would go to practice, like try my hardest or whatever. I was PRing on the track, dropping my time or whatever. I was getting injured. I didn't have my books and stuff. And it was just like, everything was just like going downhill. Like I was PRing, but like everything else was like bad. So fast forward to conference, I was dealing with an ankle injury. I had only ran one outdoor 400 before conference. I PR'd at our first home meet. We get to conference, I can barely walk. I'm like on the bus, like bawling, like I'm crying, like boo-hoo crying on the bus because like I think I can't compete. Like I came to this school just to compete, and I knew like my grades weren't so well that I knew like I was probably gonna be ineligible to run the next season. So I was like, this is it. Like it's either now or never. So I called my current coach that I train with now, and he was like, get a bucket, fill it halfway with water, halfway with ice, and just put your foot in it for 10 minutes, take it out for 10 minutes, put it in there 10 minutes, take it out 10 minutes. So I did that for a while. And next day I go and run prelims, I PR again, 48.5. I'm still limping, still trying to run fast. I feel like I can run 47 or whatever. So like I'm trying to stay locked in, but obviously like dealing with the injury is not easy. So finals come around, I get my ankle wrapped or whatever, and I take a bunch of Advil, and like it's kind of like numb, but like in your head it's there. Run finals, I ended up getting like 5th overall. I PR again, I ran 48.2. So at this point I'm like, imagine what I could have done if I wasn't injured. Anyways, PR'd a couple times, and like I was riding high. Our relay was running well, like we were top 10 in the country, so like we could have went to nationals. Me and my coach, my head coach, ended up getting in some issues, and I ended up just walking away from the team. I never have ever saw myself as being a quitter or someone that gives up, but it's just a certain point in time. Like there's a certain amount of disrespect and a certain amount of stuff that you can take as a person and as a man, and I just couldn't stand by that, so I had to leave. I've talked to my teammates since then, like we still cool, like it was never nothing personal against them, it was just something that I had to do for myself. I ended up leaving that, took a whole nother year off, trained with my coach, finally finished up my associate's degree, and I wanted to take the D1 route, but obviously like if you know track and field, like any sport really, like it's all politics. I just wasn't hearing what I wanted to hear from a lot of schools. So before I went to Shorter, there was an NAIA school, like a coach that was following me the whole time. We would go unattached like to some meets in Johnson City, Tennessee at East Tennessee State, and they would be there. So like after one meet, he ended up getting my number, and he was like texting me. He was like, I've been following you since like 2015, 2014 or whatever. Like, I want to offer you a scholarship. At the time, I looked up the school, and I saw like it was very expensive. Like it was like a Christian private school. So I was like, I don't know if I can go here. Like he offered me a certain amount of money. And I was like, that's not full. Like, I don't know. He took a couple days, and he was like, this is our tuition. Like, you can't put tuition and athletic together. So he was like, this is the most that I can like legally give you. So I was like, all right, like, I'll just take a chance on it. So took a chance on it, and it was the best decision I ever made. I spent 2.5 years there. I competed for 2 seasons. PR multiple times, ended up with 8 All-Americans, won a national championship, broke many school records, NAIA Athlete of the Week, Google Cloud Academic All-American, like all that, Dean's List, Honors List. From 2017 to December 2019, I was there. I got my accounting degree, and then at this point, I'm like, there's nothing on my mind now but like turning up even more. Like running collegiately is cool, but like I'm ready for the big dogs now. So at this point, I'm training. I'm back in Huntsville. I'm training with my coach. So I got an internship. I'm working full time, and like we seeing so much progression. Like my indoor season was crazy. I'm PR and dropping time easily. And I was just like, I was riding high. So then March 2020 comes around. It's outdoor season. So March 7th, 2020, I open up my outdoor season. I run 10:41, wind dated, and then I run 21:0, wind legal. First meet. So I'm running PRs at the beginning of the season, damn near in February. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And as you all know, if you remember March 2020, that's when COVID hit. So COVID shut everything down, completely shut down my season, a lot of people's season. And that was it. That was the last of 2020. So really felt like I could have made some noise that season, but you know, everything happens for a reason, and that's something that's out of my control, so I can't really stress over it. Fast forward 2021, every meet we go to, you gotta get a COVID test. Like, you gotta make sure you're not around people that have had COVID and all this. You gotta disclose all this stuff. Like, y'all know what we had to go through. So indoor 2021 gets here, and kind of was like I didn't even miss a beat, honestly. Everything was cool. My first couple meets, I didn't run anything major. It was just like me getting back into shape, like 21.6s, stuff like that. That was cool. Then around like Christmas or whatever, I ended up going to Arizona for New Year's, and I caught COVID the day before New Year's. That sat me down for 17 days. I was asymptomatic, so I wasn't like struggling with it or whatever, but I couldn't train. Like, obviously, like I couldn't be, my coach didn't want me to be around the team, like risk of contaminating anybody or whatever. So 17 days, I just sat around in bed, couldn't do anything, couldn't train or whatever. So that was a little depression or whatever. So then finally, after the 2 weeks or whatever, took another COVID test, was negative. So I'm cool at this point. I go to practice for the first time, 2 or 3 weeks, practice for 2 days, go to a meet, I PR. And I'm just like, I don't know what was in COVID, but I feel like it just gave me superpowers. So I'm like, all right, like it's time to turn up now. Keep competing, keep PRing. Like times just keep dropping. So I'm like, all right, like it's gonna be a good year. So outdoor season comes around. I'm getting close to that 20-point barrier that I've been chasing. I would run a couple meets and I was noticing like I was running real consistent times. And that's something that I've noticed with myself a lot. Like I'll always have, like I have seasons where I'll of course drop some PRs and stuff, but like there's a lot of times where I run at like the same times or I'll run close to the same times, and like I just run very consistent. I used to think it was a bad thing, but obviously it's a good thing, like if I'm able to continue doing that, because I mean consistency usually leads to your breakthrough. So never get discouraged if you're running the same times over and over. Usually your breakthrough is right around the corner. So anyways, my season didn't end how I wanted to, so I just chalked it up, finished my season out or whatever, took my little month off, came back to practice. Now it's 2021, 2022. So now this is last year. If you know track and field, that was a big year because there was a World Indoor Championship and a World Outdoor Championship. So at this point, I'm like teetering around that 21 low, trying to get the 20-point range, and I'm basically just chasing that. So I was like, maybe I should run the 400 again. I had took 2 years off from it, so I was like, maybe I should run this again, like help me get a little stronger for the 2. And then for indoor championships, they don't do the 200, so it only made sense to run the 4 and try to qualify, like get on national TV or whatever. So ended up PR'd in both of my events all indoor season. I ran like 47.4 indoor and like 21.15. USA's, they take top 20, and the automatic standard was like 46.80, but they take the top 20, and whoever doesn't have the automatic standard, they just fill it out. So like every heat has people in it. So I ended up going in like seated 15th, and it was a cool experience. It was nothing like I had ever experienced before. Just going in there, like I had gone to Florida Relays and seen like pro athletes and stuff, but like that was just like a fun meet for them. Like now it's like all business. So I'm walking in there, I'm seeing Grant Holloway, Trayvon Bromell, Marvin Bracey, like all these athletes. And I ain't gonna say like I got shell shocked. Like I'm never really the type of person that's like struck by like celebrities, because like I feel like in this game, like track and field, like if I'm there with you, like obviously I have the ability, like I'm here for a reason. So like there's no reason for me to like fanboy over somebody when like we all bleed the same color. Like we just might be at different places in our lives or our athletic careers at this point. But anyways, meet day comes up, dealing with some personal stuff, kind of got in my head. And if I can find the video or find pictures from the meet, I'll pop them up. But I didn't look like myself at that meet. I wasn't aggressive at all. I really just got out there and ran and just held on. I got second in my heat, but the time was like, it was close to my PR, but it wasn't what I was capable of. So it was what it was. Was upset about it. So I started my outdoor season early. I was upset. The week I flew back from indoor nationals, I went to an outdoor meet that next weekend. Opened my season early because I was just like upset. Ended up ran 47 mid or whatever, season opener. It was like a lactic workout or whatever, or speed endurance workout. So I was like, all right, cool. Like I feel like I'm in good shape. The next week comes around, I run a 200. I run 21.00, and I'm like, all right, like I'm ready. So at this point, I'm conscious of like what I need to run to go to USA, like to go to USA Outdoors and World. So like I literally like went back to past championships and looked at like the top 32 or whatever. So like at this point I'm chasing times, and like I'm like I need to run this week so I can get closer to this time. And so like at this point I'm just running like almost every week. I probably ran I think I ran a total of like 17, 18 200s last year and like 16 400. So I was basically just running myself to the ground. I was very consistent. I PR'd a couple times. Like I ran 47.0 and 47.11, which was my 2 fastest times ever last year. So I was just like chasing times, and I just felt like I ran myself into the ground. And it is what it is. I feel like I'm stronger for it now, like this season, because like I put my body through so much last year. But anyways, did that. My season ended in June. I went to a last chance meet, try to qualify the week before, 2 weeks before USA's. Didn't run how I wanted to do, so I just shut my season down. My coach was like, "We're gonna try something different. Like, I'm gonna give you 3 months off instead of 1." So I had never taken more than a month off, and usually like after 2 weeks, I'm like, I'm ready to come back. So at this point, my coach is just like, I'm gonna just give you 3 months off. Like, you can't lift, you can't run, you can't do anything. During the season, I was like 169 or something like that. By the time September got around, I'm 182. So I put on like 13, 14 pounds, just not doing anything at all. Get back to practice. We basically have a new training regimen, like in the weight room and everything. So I'm putting on size fast. Like, my squats are going up, my deadlifts are going up. Fast forward to now, like, it's December now. I started in September. I'm still around that 180 range, but I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in. Like, my deadlift max is going up like 50 pounds. My squat max is going up like 90 pounds. So I'm at the point where I'm ready to attack, and I'm just documenting this because I feel like this season is going to be probably the biggest season I've ever had. And last year was basically like me, like, opening the door, kicking the door in or whatever. And like, this year is like me just busting through that bitch. So I thought I would just bring this to y'all, just give y'all a little background on how I got to where I am and where I started from. So if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe for more, and I will keep bringing some more for y'all. So I'm out.